How do I use background images in SPARKvue to build SPARKlab pages? You may have seen the SPARKlabs built into SPARKvue, with their mix of instructions, assessments, and data displays, and wondered if you can create similar graphics-rich SPARKlabs for your students. The answer is yes, and the key to building them is understanding how to use background images when building your own pages in SPARKvue. Starting from SPARKvue's welcome screen, I'll choose the Build New Experiment path. This allows me to design the first page of my SPARKlab. Before I select a page layout, though, I'll choose to add a background image to this page. Here's a PNG image that I created in a separate program. I'll add it to the background of this page. I intend for this background image to serve as a title page for this SPARKlab, with no interactive SPARKvue elements. However, to proceed with building this page, I first need to choose one of these layouts that defines the potential placement of foreground displays on the page. I'll choose the top layout, with just one foreground element occupying the full page. This builds the first page of my SPARKlab, which consists of two layers. There is a display selector in the foreground and my image in the background. I could use this selector to place a SPARKvue display in the foreground, but on this page, I want only the background image. So I'll simply delete the foreground element selector, and my first page is done. Let me pause here and describe some characteristics of this background image. It's a PNG image, 1,800 pixels wide by 995 pixels tall, created in a separate graphics application. SPARKvue accepts common image formats such as PNG and JPEG. SPARKvue pages have a width-to-height ratio of about 1.81 to 1. If a background image has a different aspect ratio, SPARKvue will stretch it to fill the page. So to avoid distortion, I designed my image to have that same ratio of width to height. You can create background images in graphics programs like Paint or Photoshop, but presentation software like PowerPoint or Google Slides can also export their slides as PNG or JPEG images compatible with SPARKvue. To continue building this SPARKlab, I'll add a new page, which will become page number 2. On this page, I'll provide instructions for students to collect data in a graph and answer a question about their data. My background image still fills the screen at 1,800 by 995 pixels, but I've intentionally left open space for SPARKvue displays on the left and below the instructions. I'll select this template with a large object on the left and two smaller objects on the right. I'll place a graph on the left, delete the foreground in the upper right, and add an assessment to the foreground in the lower right. In this manner, you can use background images to build graphics-rich SPARKlabs for your students' experiments.